Welcome back to Monarch Creative Masterclass by Monarch Creative Media. This is David.
And I'm Emily. Welcome to this deep dive.
We're talking directly to you today, the self-published author who might be feeling, well, pretty disheartened after a maybe tough experience with a high-pressure publisher.
Yeah, maybe even a vanity press nightmare.
Exactly. So today, we're diving into how you can recover from that. Our big goal here is to reignite that spark in you, help rebuild your trust in taking control of your own author career.
And it's so understandable if you're feeling that sense of despair. You've put in so much your time, your energy, maybe a lot of money
For sure.
into something that just didn't pan out like you expected. But, and this is really important, getting back on your feet, it's absolutely possible.
More than possible, right?
Definitely. It can actually set you on a better path, honestly. A way to republish your book more professionally and, well, in a way that's genuinely more rewarding for you.
Absolutely. So think of this as your roadmap forward with confidence. We've dug into a lot of advice on this, and we're going to walk you through the key steps.
Okay.
First up, how to actually break ties with that old publisher, getting your rights back, getting your content.
Crucial first step.
Then we'll explore the much better ways to publish your book options that are not vanity presses.
Yes, lots of good options out there.
Third, making sure that old publisher isn't unfairly profiting off your work anymore. That's a big one.
Huge.
And finally, the exciting part, relaunching your book effectively, getting readers excited again, getting you excited again. So where do we begin?
Right. So the absolute first hurdle for many authors is regaining control. You have to secure your publishing rights. Now, how easy this is? Well, it really hinges on the contract you signed.
Okay.
If your contract was non-exclusive, meaning you always kept the right to publish elsewhere, or if the contract term just naturally ended, then phew, that's great news. You're probably free to just move ahead.
That sounds like the dream scenario. But what if it was an exclusive contract and it's still active? That's where it gets sticky, I imagine.
It does, yeah, that's trickier. In that case, you've got a few main routes. One is you try to negotiate an early end to the contract.
Even if you feel like you were ripped off.
Yeah, no, it feels unfair. And you might have to compromise a bit, but sometimes it's the fastest way to just get those rights back in your hands. Often, showing there haven't been sales or they haven't really marketed it, that can give you some leverage.
Okay. What else?
Another way, if you have the patience, is just waiting out the contract term, assuming it has a clear end date.
But you need to know how it ends. Yeah.
Exactly. You absolutely have to read that termination clause really carefully. That's the part spelling out how and when it can end. There might be specific steps, like sending a formal notice by a certain date. Don't skip those details.
Got it. Don't mess up the paperwork.
Definitely not. Then there's the option of telling the publisher formally that they've failed to meet their side of the deal, that they're in breach of contract, and you're ending things because of that.
Ooh, sounds confrontational.
It can be. And it's risky, especially if the contract is vague about what counts as a breach or how termination works. They might just disagree, and then you're kind of stuck unless you want to push it legally.
Which brings us to the lawsuit option.
The absolute last resort. Everyone advises against this unless you absolutely have to.
Why? Just the cost.
The cost is huge, yeah. But also the time, the stress, and if the publisher is difficult to start with, even just getting the ball rolling can be a nightmare. Honestly, for a lot of authors, just waiting out the contract, even if it feels totally unjust, might be the more practical, though painful choice.
Wow. So really understanding that termination clause is everything.
It's essential. And hey, for anyone wanting to dig deeper, the Authors Alliance has a fantastic resource, The Ultimate Guide to Rights Reversion. Seriously valuable stuff in there.
Good tip. Okay, so let's say you've navigated that contract maze. You're getting your rights back. What's next? Getting the actual book files, right? The content.
Yep. To republish professionally, you need, bare minimum, a great cover design, and a well-edited manuscript, formatted properly for ebooks and print.
Okay. And if things weren't totally awful with the old publisher, maybe they'll just hand those over.
Ideally, yes. If they're cooperative, you check your contract to see what you're entitled to, and then you just ask for them, preferably in writing.
But reality check.
Reality check is, especially after a bad experience, they might just ghost you, or be totally unwilling, or the contract might not actually give you the rights to those specific design files anyway.
That's frustrating, because you likely paid for that cover design and formatting as part of their package deal.
Exactly. It adds insult to injury. You paid for it, and now you might have to pay again to recreate it.
But maybe look at it as a chance for a better cover this time, when you actually control.
That's a great way to frame it. It is an opportunity. But yeah, it's frustrating because Even if they failed you, they might still claim they own the design of the cover, the interior formatting.
Seriously.
Unfortunately, yes. So again, back to the contract. You need to know exactly what it says is yours. If those files aren't explicitly yours, you might just have to bite the bullet and invest in new ones.
Okay. Rights secured, content sorted, or you have a plan B for content. Now, the big decision, the new publishing path. And rule number one seems to be steer clear of vanity presses this time.
Absolutely. Let's nail down what vanity publishing really means. It's where you pay to get published, often based on shaky promises, and the services are, well, often low quality.
They make money from the author, not from selling books to readers.
That's the core issue. They prey on that dream of holding your book, but the reality is often paying way too much for things you could do yourself for free or get done much cheaper and better elsewhere.
Right. We hear those stories.
Yeah.
So what are the better alternatives? Where you stay in control?
So many better ways. One great path is investing in self-publishing education, courses, resources. Learn the process yourself.
Empower yourself.
Exactly. It gives you the knowledge to make smart choices, hire the right freelancers for editing, cover design, whatever you need. There are good podcasts and sites dedicated to this.
Makes sense. What else?
Another super direct route, just upload your book straight to the retailers. Amazon KDP, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble Nook, Google Play, Kobo. It's surprisingly easy. And importantly, it's free to upload.
Which is what the vanity presses charge a fortune for. Often.
Precisely. Then there's print on demand, POD, services like KDP Print, Ingram Spark, BookBaby. They let you sell paperbacks without buying a garage full of books up front.
Avoiding that huge print run cost that trips people up.
Exactly. The book only gets printed when someone actually orders it. Huge difference.
What about, like, the old school publishing deals? Traditional publishing?
Still an option, sure. It has prestige, but it's super competitive to get a deal. The whole process takes ages, and you often give up quite a bit of creative control and get a smaller slice of the sales pie compared to self-publishing.
Okay, and I've heard the term hybrid publishing. What's that about? Is it just another name for vanity?
It can be confusing. Legitimate hybrid publishing is meant to be a selective model. They charge authors up front, yes, but they're supposed to offer better royalties and higher quality production than a vanity press. They should be investing in the book alongside the author.
But there's a risk.
Big risk. Some shady vanity presses just slap the hybrid label on themselves. So you have to be really careful. Do your homework. Check resources like the Independent Book Publishers Association to see if they meet certain standards. If they seem to accept anyone who can pay, that's a huge red flag. It's probably just vanity in disguise.
Got it. Buyer beware. Always. Now, you mentioned Ingram Spark for print on demand. We know some authors look at that after a bad vanity experience, maybe because of wider distribution. But sometimes they run into tech issues.
Yeah, that's a really common scenario. Ingram Spark is definitely a major player for POD, especially for getting your book into physical bookstores and libraries globally, which is appealing. That distribution network is a big plus.
Compared to maybe just Amazon KDP print.
Right. But yes, the technical side can be a hurdle. Preparing your files exactly to their specifications is crucial. People run into problems with things like color the printed book not matching the digital proof.
Oh, that would be frustrating.
Totally. Or issues with bleed.
Bleed. What's that?
Okay, so bleed is basically extra image area that extends beyond the edge of where the page will be trimmed. You need it so that when they cut the pages, you don't get an ugly little white sliver along the edge if the cut isn't absolutely perfect.
Like insurance for the trim.
Exactly. And margins, too, the white space around your text. Getting those wrong can make the book look unprofessional or even get rejected by Ingram Spark. Their requirements can be quite specific.
So how do authors deal with that, especially if they're not super tech savvy?
Well, the absolute best advice is read Ingram Spark's file creation guide thoroughly. It has all the specs. Sometimes the files you got from the vanity press, even if they looked okay digitally, just won't cut it for Ingram's print process.
So you might need new files anyway, or need to adjust them.
You might. Like Ingram needs a specific amount of bleed, usually 3 millimeters, and maybe your old cover file doesn't have it set up right. You can't always just use the same files you used for, say, KDP print.
Right. Different specs for different printers.
Precisely. Checking if the old publisher can give you files with the correct bleed included is worth asking, but don't count on it. If not, you might need to hire someone or learn to use design software like Canva or Adobe InDesign to fix it yourself. There are tutorials online.
So it takes effort, but it's doable.
It is. And getting it right means your final printed book will look professional, which is the whole point, right? Taking that time up front saves headaches later.
Absolutely. Good to know those challenges are real but solvable. Okay, so rights back, new path chosen, maybe navigating Ingram Spark. What about the old publisher still selling the old version? That must drive authors
Oh,
crazy.
it's a huge worry. And honestly, stopping them completely can be tough if they're uncooperative and still claim they have rights, even if you disagree.
Why can't Amazon just take it down if you ask?
Because retailers like Amazon usually don't want to get caught in the middle of a rights dispute. Unless the original publisher agrees or you have a court order, they're often reluctant to just pull the book.
Ugh. So are you just stuck with it?
Not entirely. There's a practical workaround. You basically try to make the old edition invisible.
Oh,
On platforms like Amazon, you can ask them to link your new, shiny edition to the old one. And this is key. Ask them to make your new edition the primary one people see.
so when someone searches, they find the new one first.
Exactly. The old one gets buried maybe under that little see all formats and editions link that most people probably don't click. It's still there, maybe, but much less prominent.
Clever. Does that affect reviews?
Good question. Often, the best part is that linking the editions allows the reviews and ratings from the old version to carry over to the new one.
Oh, that's huge. You don't lose that social proof.
Right. It gives your relaunch a massive head start. Readers see those existing stars and feel more confident buying the new version.
Okay, that's a really practical tip. So, rights back, new path, old edition sidelined.
Yeah.
Now for the fun part, the relaunch, giving the book a proper second chance.
Yes. The relaunch, it's such a great opportunity, like giving your book the debut it deserved, but maybe didn't get the first time around. It's about reintroducing it strategically.
You must hear from authors who are so down after the first experience, right? Getting to this stage must feel amazing.
It really is a testament to their resilience. It's easy to feel like giving up, but getting to relaunch, that's powerful.
So why relaunch? What are the triggers?
Several reasons. Maybe the first launch just fizzled, no real marketing plan, or you've heavily revised the book, made it way better.
Or you just got your rights back.
That's a big one. Or maybe you want a fresh cover that fits the market better now, or you're rebranding yourself as an author, or maybe there's a new trend your book fits into. It's all about that fresh start.
Okay, so how do you prep for a successful relaunch? Make it count this time.
Preparation is key. First step, upgrade and enhance. Really look at that manuscript again. Revise it. Polish it. Improve the formatting. And definitely consider professional editing if you skipped it or got subpar editing before.
We talked about finding editors. Be careful. Check reviews, get samples.
Absolutely crucial. Then
Yeah.
polish your author branding, get a consistent look and feel, a logo maybe, website design, colors, fonts that feels like you and connects with your readers.
Need to look professional.
Totally. And finally, optimize for discovery. That means getting your metadata right, title, subtitle, keywords, categories. Make it easy for the right readers to find your book online. There are even tools to help with this.
Okay, book is polished, branding is sharp, metadata is dialed in. How do you actually promote the relaunch, get people excited?
Right, the promotion strategy. You need one. First, have a good author website, your home base online.
Essential.
Build a reader community if you can, maybe a Facebook group, or just engage actively online. Share content your ideal readers would find interesting, not just buy my book.
Add value.
Exactly. Build an ARC team, advanced reader copy team. Get early copies out to bloggers and reviewers to generate buzz and those crucial early reviews.
Smart.
Set up pre-orders. This helps build momentum before launch day. And obviously, be active on social media where your readers hang out. Use the right hashtags, engage in conversations.
It sounds like a lot more work than maybe the first time, but also way more effective because you're driving it.
It is more work, but it's focused work.
Right.
And it builds real connections. Oh, and one really important thing, be transparent.
How so?
Tell your readers this is a revised or updated edition. Explain why you're relaunching, what's new or better. Maybe add a new foreword explaining the book's journey.
Why is that important?
It stops people accidentally buying it twice if they have the old one, which they won't appreciate. But more than that, it builds trust. Honesty strengthens that author-reader relationship.
That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
This whole journey, wow, from feeling helpless with a bad publisher to taking charge, relaunching, it really is about empowerment, isn't it?
Completely. That bad experience, it's a setback, for sure. And feeling disappointed or frustrated, totally valid. But it is not the end of your author's story.
It's a chapter, maybe.
A tough chapter, maybe, but it leads to a new beginning. It's a chance for a fresh start, armed with what you've learned. You now know what to watch out for, how to make smarter choices.
So for everyone listening who's been through this, remember, you can learn, you can recover, you can move forward with confidence. Taking back your rights, relaunching your book, that's an act of creative resilience.
It really is. It's a huge step towards building that successful, fulfilling author career you wanted in the first place.
We really hope this deep dive has given you some concrete steps and, just as importantly, some renewed hope.
Definitely explore those resources we mentioned: Authors Alliance, Alliance of Independent Authors, selfpublishing.com, Publish Drive. They have so much more detail and support available. Knowledge is your power now.
Couldn't agree more. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. Here at Monarch Creative Masterclass, we're all about helping you navigate self-publishing confidently and take charge of your amazing creative work. Thanks so much for tuning in.